But we'll see. We'll see what happens going forward. But I don't know. I got a lot to think about, to be honest. And
these comments by LeBron James absolutely lit up social media, leaving everyone with the same conclusion. Is LeBron James going to retire? I think it's a smokescreen to something much bigger by LeBron James here. But before we get into that, here's more on the retirement conversation.
What were you trying to leave for us in terms of a breadcrumb trail? What thread should we be trying to pull when it comes to you saying you have a lot to think about? And he said, whether I want to continue to play. I said, as in next year? He said, yeah. I said, so you would walk away? And he said, that's what I got to think about.
So if you didn't know, the Lakers got smacked by the Nuggets and swept out of the playoffs. So naturally, right after a brutal loss, your head is not in the right spot. So these comments by LeBron aren't actually very surprising, just due to the sheer fact of just getting bounced the way they did in the playoffs. But once these comments actually hit the internet or became public, two things came to mind. Number one, LeBron said his dream is to play with Bronny.
What's left for you? What do you need to do in your career before you can hang it up?
I need to be on the floor with my boy. I gotta be on the floor with Bronny.
And number two, this could be a negotiation tactic for LeBron James because he wants to get the team better. You know, something along the lines of, if we don't get better, I'll retire, which puts a ton of pressure on the Lakers management to make all the moves that LeBron James wants. And remember, LeBron James has done this type of negotiation before. People call it publicly negotiating. And once again, do not forget, LeBron James is an all-time businessman. He knows exactly what he's doing if he wants to gain leverage in these conversations. And don't forget, Bronny, his son, just committed to USC, which is like 2 seconds away from where the Lakers play. And it would actually make sense for him to stay, but if you look outside of the box for 1 second, what if LeBron takes the Jordan route? Say he retires for a year, watches Bronny play at USC, be the dad for the year, recharge his body, wait for Bronny to get drafted next year, which is when he's actually eligible to be in the NBA, then LeBron can sign with the team that Bronny is actually playing for. There's obviously some stipulations and conversations with that saying like, oh, okay, technically the Lakers own his rights, but it's still a fun conversation because Bron has 2 years left on his deal, so if he were to retire, he would need to be traded to where Bronny is, but it's LeBron James. I'm sure he can work that out. And if I were to guess, LeBron is not going to retire. But let's be honest, LeBron James is LeBron James. The man loves talking about himself and doing things, you know, in big fashion. So LeBron is going to want a retirement tour. No question about it. And honestly, I don't blame him because that seems awesome and super sick to have everyone talking about you for the entire year. Pretty legendary. And also, LA hosts the 2025 All-Star Game. So if you were to stay until then, that could technically be a LeBron James retirement party. And additionally, LeBron has expressed a ton of interest in having a team in Vegas.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's the best fan base in the world. And I would love to bring a team here at some point. That would be amazing. I want the team here, Adam. Thank you.
And recently, Adam Silver also said, Las Vegas will make a great location for a franchise one day. We've been very public with the fact that we want to get through collective bargaining and we want to see where our media deal comes out, said Silver, alluding to the contracts that are set to expire after the 2024-2025 season. So a team in Vegas in 2026? That would be a great spot for an NBA franchise. That in Seattle, if you ask me. But let's be honest, LeBron James is still a very good basketball player. I mean, maybe he's lost a little bit of a step, maybe a little, but he's still like a top 15 player at worst. And LeBron James was actually asked whether he believed of a summer of rehab could get him back to the player he was prior to a foot injury. From December through January, he was far more explosive and averaged 30 points with ease. And LeBron James nodded and said he could, and also noted, because I'm better than 90% in the NBA, maybe 95%. But if you didn't know, LeBron actually had a foot injury, so he's been limited, and reportedly he was supposed to be like shut down to get surgery, but you never really know all this stuff. But at the end of the day, he was definitely limited. And which also makes sense for him taking another year off just so he can get healthy and play at 100% wherever Bronny is, if that actually works out. But regarding the 90 to 95% of the league, I mean, you're telling me that LeBron isn't a top 5% best players in the league? Because he obviously is, even on his worst day. I mean, if you really think about it, it's similar to the Tom Brady situation. They aren't retiring because they're not good anymore. They're just retiring because they're not having as much fun playing or just having the most insane amount of accolades. Like, what do you play for if you're like considered to be the GOAT in LeBron James and then Tom Brady is actually the GOAT? Because you know these guys are like the chip on the shoulder type of guys where they're like, they're driven by certain things. You know, they really want to get better because people are talking down to them. But when you have all the accolades, how do you push yourself outside of saying this person disrespects me? But it's the internet. There's obviously going to be someone saying that LeBron isn't good or Tom Brady isn't good. But in reality, both of them are like kind of like top of the league still, which is insane. I mean, at the end of the day, we need more people to retire at the top of the league because you don't want to see these legends just going out absolutely brutally and having to watch them just like shamefully wisp out of the league. We shall see. But I can tell you something for sure, that LeBron James is one of the most calculated athletes out there, and he definitely has a plan, and he knows exactly what he wants to do.